I think I remember somewhere in those questions you had asked what was the big, not big thing, but something that was like significant in my career. Um, I think one of the first, I guess you could say not failure, but one of the things that hit me the hardest was um, in my first tour. Remember that I kind of explained how like I was scared. I accepted it, like dying, and then or combat, if you will. Well, I got to a point where I wanted it. Um, I would go outside the wire and instead of like hiding in my turret or something like that, I'd be standing up in the turret, like looking around, like just waiting for someone to take a pop shot at me because I was an easy target, and just so I could get in an engagement. Um, so I was eager, and one day these soldiers got ambushed on a checkpoint and they got captured, and we got my company, a bunch of other companies got um, we got assigned to go look for them, and I was a young team leader at the time. I was in charge of a team, so I had a driver and a gunner, or someone that was in a turret, and we were my vehicle at my team was part of a squad, and in that squad we had 4 teams, so we had 4 Humvees or 4 trucks, and we were assigned to go look for these 2 soldiers in Baghdad, and I never met them before. I don't know who they were, but I just knew that we were gonna find them, and we're finally gonna do something good in this war, because to me at the time I was getting really frustrated with all the missions we were doing, because it just seemed like we would drive around and get shot at or blown up, and for what? I didn't feel like we were doing anything. So every day we'd be out there for 12 hours talking to people, looking, and it just seemed like so tedious. We'd go block by block, but it felt like progress was being made. And then one day we get this mission like, hey, like hundreds of people are going to this one city. And I don't know how true it was. We just know the rumors that were kind of getting thrown around. But we got told that our 2 soldiers were in the city, and the morning that we were going to go out and enter the city to go get them, we got told to stand down. And it wasn't just like our company; it was like hundreds of people got told to stand down. Different companies, different groups. It was a huge operation to go get these 2, and we were always like, why did they tell us to stop? Why did they tell us to do it? And the rumor was, the person in charge of that city his name was like Al Sadr, and we had heard a rumor that he threatened, and that if we entered that city, that it was going to be bad politically, or a bad political move, or something along those lines. So we decided not to go in, and so that day was very frustrating. And I remember waking up the next morning, and my squad leader said, I gotta like show you guys something. And so we all went to her living area, which was like a little trailer, and she put on a video for our whole squad to watch, and it was the 2 soldiers, and they were getting it was their bodies, and they were getting dragged. And I mean, I think at that point, that's when it was that it kind of like finally clicked that, like, that we're not all invincible, and I guess when I was talking to you about taking things for granted, I think that's when it hit me the most, and realized that no matter how big and bad and tough I think, or you think you are, or I thought I was, or we can't save them all. So that was really hard for me. That still to this day, that I hated that feeling. I hated the helplessness and hopelessness that I felt, and wishing that I could have done more. I could have searched another block. I could have drove faster. I could have done something. And I don't know. It sucked. So I just remember that was one of the biggest, even though it was like a really bad experience, I still think, but it was something that I think I benefited. I don't even want to say benefited because that sounds horrible, but it's just something that I want to say learned from, you know, and just maybe also, I think at that point too, that was the turning point in my career that made me go from being, because I think if you had asked anyone before that point, they would have viewed me as like a jokester. I always liked to have fun. No one took me serious. And then from that point on, I took a lot of pride in my uniform. I hated for it to look out of not nice. The colors of the patches, the flag. I took a lot more pride in that, and I hated when I saw people not wear the uniform proudly or not represent the uniform, because in my eyes I always viewed the last thing those, their names are Marchand and Tucker, last thing they wore was a uniform, and then for someone to disrespect it, you know, just I hate that feeling. So from then on, I just decided that I'm going to be the best that I can and do the best that I could, and I've stayed in ever since. And I think that's one of the big reasons why I've stayed in too, is I want to keep trying to help other soldiers, and who knows, you know, maybe I can instill the same motivation and the pride that I take in a uniform. That's what I want to give to other people, is that pride. So.